Pacers crushed by the Magic. Some young players pop. Their defense does not, and they are officially the 4 seed setting up a rematch with the Bucks. So much to get to on today's Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Saturday/weekend, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes, and today, last home regular season game for the Pacers. They play the Magic. The teams have 10 starters between them. One of those 10 players played. Shout out to ex-Pacer Corey Joseph for being the one. The rest did not. A very hard game to evaluate as a result. Pacers were smoked in said game. The Magic were up as much as 35. Some nice performances from Pacers youngsters to get to. I'll explain why it's a very hard game to evaluate. And I don't even mean that to excuse the Pacers. They played quite bad with the resources available. And yet, the story of the game is more about the standings. It's over. After weeks of standings watch, the Pacers seed is official. Their opponent is official. We'll touch on Pacers Bucks a little bit at the end. Let us start with the basketball game played by basketball players in Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Friday night. Neither team had anything to play for. Pacers, I guess you could say, if they wanted a specific thing, could have played for something, but the Magic locked into 7, locked into division title no matter what. Both teams rest their starters, and there's this long thing I've been listening to podcasts and reading stories about people evaluating rookies for Rookie of the Year votes and how they would decide Rookie of the Year this year. And a lot of people talk about the Wizards and they say this. Well, it's really hard to evaluate the Wizards rookies because that's just a tough situation for rookies because they're all playing together. They're not very good, blah, blah, blah. And that's true. And that is a Pacers-related discussion because the game that just happened, all of the things that give the Pacers, not all the things, many of the things that give the Pacers good structure and many of the things that make it easy to evaluate a player within their system were absent from this game, which makes it very hard to look at what happened in Pacers Magic and say, what mattered here, right? Like, why did they play bad? Well, they didn't have their best 5 players, and some of their bench guys should have been better, but like, there's no staying power to any of this. If someone had been terrible or popped in this game, it doesn't matter a ton because this isn't how the Pacers are going to play in the future or even in their very next game by chance, right? So with that in mind, it's a tough eval of anything specific because they didn't have their pace setter, they didn't have their best play finishers, they didn't have their 2 best defenders or their best rim protector, right? Like all this stuff together means guys were playing in a different system with different pace and different roles, lots of different minutes. I mean, over 40 minutes for Ben Mathurin, almost 35 for Jarace Walker, right? This is exactly what the Pacers should have done, to be clear. I said this is what they should do yesterday. But that does make some of the evals of this game hard. Now that I've set the scene for so long, the Pacers stunk on defense. They were awful on the defensive end of the floor. The Magic are like one of the least efficient teams in the league. They're not good at shooting. They score very infrequently. They couldn't miss for like long stretches of this game. 80 combined points across the second and third quarter for the Orlando Magic. Some of that was really nice shooting from guys that aren't typically awesome shooters. Ex-Pacer Trevel and Queen drilled 5 of them. Caleb Houston was hitting threes. Cole Anthony hit a 3. Jet Howard hit 2 threes. Gary Harris was hot early in the game. That's part of it. Some of it was the Magic doing well, like from the mid-range or in the paint, 56 points in the paint for the Magic. Just in general, they did a really nice job of carving up the Pacers, generating open threes, cutting at the right times. And so this part is valuable, right? This is the defensive side of the ball. You can still stand out or play well in a game in which your star players are not available. So like Jarace Walker had some nice reps. Thomas Bryant actually had 4 blocks and had some decent rim protecting moments. But in general, I was not particularly impressed by any Pacers defender in this game, including the ones who routinely play, right? And that was concerning, right? That's why they lost the game. They could not guard Orlando at all. They were down 35 in the second quarter. And then they were down 35 in the third quarter. And then again in the fourth. The fact that this game finished as a 14-point game does cover up how poorly the Pacers played, similar to a Magic game they played in Gainbridge last year. That's why the Pacers lost, besides the, who was available for both teams thing. But the takeaway from this game is that doesn't really matter, right? Because the winner or loser of this game was not important, right? What matters for the Pacers is that they got big minute opportunities for some guys they don't normally get to. All three of their two-way guys played 10-plus minutes. Johnny Furphy played 32 minutes. I already mentioned Jarris Walker and Ben Mathurin, and that's where more of the takeaways come from this game. To me, is what those guys did in particular. I thought the two podium game guys were the place to start. Just to get this out of the way, the vets who played were McConnell, Bryant, and Toppin. Potentially guys they'll see in the postseason. Maybe not. I made the case that maybe McConnell wouldn't play, but he probably will end up in their top 8, just given the structure of their team. Thomas Bryant, though, if they go small, especially against Milwaukee, which is possible now that Bobby Portis is back, it could be Toppin getting all of the reserve front court minutes. Regardless, Bryant, I thought, was the best of those three. McConnell did hit shots in this game. Obi Toppin was off largely. He only had 4 points on 8 shots. That's the end of the veteran section. Let's talk about the young guys. Jarris Walker continues his late season push, fighting for playoff opportunities should they be available to him. 6 for 11, made 2 threes. Again, 8 boards, right? That's some of the stuff they've been trying to get him to do better. 2 blocks, more force on the defensive end, and 3 assists. Very strong close to the season. He played very well in January and late December before Aaron Nesmith returned. So 2 of his kind of last 3 longer stretches of play were very good. He said in December himself that he felt like his season was full of ups and downs. Basically, from the day he said that onward, he had more consistency. Not perfect, still some games where you're scratching your head about his focus level, but they're very much less frequent than they were early in the season. Tonight, very focused, did well controlling the ball. He's on a heater, making shots in general. These last couple games, hitting the glass is huge. Blocks are huge. Like, that's the stuff they will hope to see from him, even dating as far back as Summer League. So I thought Jarris Walker, while he wasn't a defensive force or anything in this game, largely was a solid player in this outing. Ben Mathurin got to the line a bunch. 13 times for Bennedict Mathurin. Over a third of the Pacers' full attempts. He made 9 of them. He had 8 rebounds. That's something he's very good at for a guard. He's very good on the glass for a guard. 3 assists. Nice. 2 steals. Like Jarris Walker, they both had 5 turnovers. That was a big, big pit in their effectiveness. And Mathurin was 5 for 17 in 41 minutes. One of his chances to kind of have a lead ball handling role, show what he can do in a setting in the playoffs maybe where the game is slowed down and they don't have Tyre Pascal are going to be on the floor in the playoffs, but just in a setting where they need him like that, the shots weren't falling, but the free throws were. If you go 5 for 17 and still have more points than shots, it says a lot about what you can do. I did not think Ben Mathurin played good defense in this game, but he certainly found ways to be efficient and get to the foul line. The guy who I thought shattered my own expectations by the most, I think anybody who watched this game would say this, was Johnny Furphy. Johnny Furphy, if he made his free throws in this game, would have had a 20-point game. Right? He didn't even have to make all of them. Just 3 of the 4 he missed more, and it would have been an effective night for him. 4 of 5 inside the arc for Furphy. I thought he had some powerful drives. He had 2 and 1s, I believe, in this game. Maybe 3. I can't quite remember all of his shot attempts, but just like controlled drives to the rim in a way that we haven't really seen before, including the play of his career, the highlight of the game for the Pacers. He catches it in the left corner, shot fake to get the defender off balance, gets around the defender. Really nice seal at the basket by, I believe, Tony Bradley, who Tony Bradley's being guarded by Goga. Goga's trying to get to Johnny Furphy, and I believe Tony Bradley, it might have been Thomas Bryant, just seals him off. He can't get there. So Furphy realizes he's got an open lane to the rim. He goes up for a dunk. At the last second he can release, Goga tries to block it, and Furphy just launches it on his head. Awesome dunk. A poster for Johnny Furphy. The bench loved it. They were on their feet for like 3 more possessions. Sick play, right? He's got that power. He's got that pop to him. When he's making shots, he looks really nice, right? All the stuff I've talked about with him and the rare chances I get to talk about him this season, the rebounding was there. He had 6 in this game, 3 assists, no turnovers. I mean, he just played a nice game. He plays so physical, which is the opposite of how he looks, but it doesn't matter how he looks when he plays the way he does. He just is impressive. And I don't know what this means. I was asking people on Media Row, like, how confident would you be in Johnny Furphy being a, like, very high up on the depth chart reserve? Not a bench player, to be clear, like the first guy outside of the bench next year. And we were discussing what that would look like. But the fact that he's playing well enough that we could merit those discussions was fascinating. He played very well. He said post game at one point, he decided like, oh, I can be aggressive tonight. And you could kind of see that switch flip, especially in the second half. Making 2 threes really helps. His best game of the season by far. The circumstances helped it happen, but he did a great job taking advantage of said situation. Best Furphy game. The best Furphy game with meaning was that game in Brooklyn early in the season, the best Furphy game period was this one. Tony Bradley with 6 offensive rebounds, giving the Pacers something. He sniffed the double-double with his rebounds. Like a lot of stuff that was like, oh, these guys that they may or may not need to rely on all did something of note. Quentin Jackson's speed with the ball is just like insane still every time he plays. He made 3 threes on his way to 13 points and 3 assists. Ray J. Dennis got going in the fourth quarter. I think all 4 of his made shots were in the fourth quarter, maybe 3 of them. His first double-digit scoring game in the NBA, right? Like they got a little bit of something from everybody. Enrique Freeman, 3 offensive boards. All the guys who played, the young guys who played, did like their thing, if that makes sense. Jarris Walker with the jumpers and the ball movement. Ben Mathurin getting to the foul line. Furphy with physicality and finishing. Now the finishing is still coming along for him. Tony Bradley and Enrique Freeman on the glass. Quentin Jackson with the speed. Ray J. Dennis with the surveying heads-up play. 3 assists for him on top of the 10 points. Like they all popped. They showed what they do and popped in those ways. But none of them did anything crazy new to me where I was like, oh, I've never seen that from this guy, except for Furphy. I thought Furphy expanded his game the most and showed me the most outside of his routine skill set that we've come to know this season. And I thought that's why he was by far the standout performer of the guys who got all these minutes in this setting. The defense, though, was concerning from literally everybody who played. Like you could point to some steal and block numbers from guys and say, yeah, they did some good stuff on defense, and that's true. And like Thomas Bryant was okay at the rim, but nobody defended well who played. And that's why the Magic were scoring with comical ease at times in this game. The Magic, they're not a good offensive team at all, right? That is of some concern. I do, however, understand even beyond the fact that none of the best defenders or the identity setters are there, I do understand if there's focus issues in a game that does not matter, right? That literally does not matter at all. The Pacers were maybe more concerned with scores elsewhere, not the players themselves, but just organizationally, if they know who they were going to play by the end of the night. They did find out it will be the Bucks. We'll get to that in the second segment. But all in all, this game is what it is. I mean, this will be a forgotten end of season who played how much kind of game. Edmund Sumner's debut was like that. The game against the Knicks, everybody remembers the year they were losing games at the end of the year was like that. This is just how some of these late season games go when there's nothing to play for, and young guys have a chance to do more, show what they can do, maybe show that they deserve more minutes or show skills that they never had a chance to show before in a game. And I thought in this one, Furphy was the best of the bunch, and I don't get to say that very often about him. Good game from Johnny Furphy, deserved podium chat with us. And now one more for the Pacers against the Cavs. Just a little bit of talk of incentive. The entire East standings are totally set. So before my brief chat of Pacers Bucks, let's talk about what else happened around the league. So the Bucks beat the Pistons, which means the Bucks are the 5 seed, the Pistons are the 6 seed. Again, we'll get to that in a second. I apologize for saying that a million times. The Knicks lost to the Cavs. That didn't matter after the Pacers lost. So the Knicks are the 3 seed. The Pacers are the 4 seed. The Bucks are the 5 seed. The Pistons are the 6 seed. The East is set 1 through 7. Actually, I think 1 through 10 actually is now set in the East. So none of the East games matter. All the West games are going to be crazy on Sunday. Now, the Pacers lost on Friday night. The Nuggets won. They beat the Grizzlies. The Clippers, I believe, won their game. They were playing somebody bad. I can't remember who it was. I could just look because I'm at my computer right this second. Golden State won. Minnesota won, right? You get the gist of it. The Lakers won. I hope you get the gist of what I'm saying in that the inverse standings around the draft went very much the Pacers' way because the Clippers beat the Kings by 1, by the way. Because all these West teams are in a tight standings race for seeding, right? Those games are really important. So Memphis lost. They lost their 34th game. The Pacers will not lose 34 games this season. So the Pacers can't get inside the top 20 anymore. Milwaukee and Memphis both are at 34 losses. But this, for context on what I said last time, the Pacers entered the day tied with the Lakers at the 25th and 26th, or excuse me, 24th and 25th picks. No, I believe I had that right the first time. They lost. Now they're tied for 22nd in a coin flip. If the Pacers lose again, LA plays Golden State, but the Clippers play Golden State. But if Golden State wins that game, the Pacers could get all the way up to like 20th, right? They could climb 6 slots in the inverse standing. That does have some value in moving up their pick. A lot of people don't care. That's fine. That's totally fine. They're a winning team right now. If you don't care about the draft pick, I do not fault you at all. If you think 50 wins is cooler, I don't fault you at all. I'm not telling you what to root for, but I am telling you there was a tangible benefit to this loss, and there could be. Minnesota plays Utah. Golden State plays the Clippers. Those are the only 2 33 loss teams. And Denver, I can't remember who Denver's last game is against. But if Denver wins their game and the Clippers win, the Clippers would have to lose to Golden State. The Pacers could get up to tied for like 20th or 21st. That 4 or 5 slot growth could matter, right? We'll see. So that is how lots of games went for against the Pacers. We'll wrap this up after Sunday's show. I'll be in Cleveland for Pacers Cavs and figure out where their draft pick is and even their second round pick and all that kind of stuff. It all is connected and all matters. And maybe they just win and then it's the opposite. Let's talk about the Bucks. They beat the Pistons. It was a close game almost the whole way. I was watching it a lot of the times. Giannis was amazing. And I don't really want to get into any specifics of the series just yet. I won't do that till the regular season's over. But I do want to talk about why I think this will be different, even beyond Giannis this year, and potentially more challenging for the Pacers. Before we do that, we need to talk about game time. There's nothing like the energy of a live game, whether it's catching a last-minute MLB showdown or soaking in the excitement of an NBA matchup. Finding great seats at a great price used to be a challenge until you find Game Time. Game Time makes scoring last-minute tickets easier than ever. Prices actually drop as the event gets closer, and with their all-in pricing, you see the total cost up front. No surprises at checkout. Many people love using Game Time for tons of various reasons, like they can save up to 60% buying last-minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. You can get last-minute seats for Pacers Cavs if you're going up to Cleveland Sunday, or their playoff games, saving big with Game Time zone deals with seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guarantee. You can book with total confidence, and their lowest price guarantee means you never have to worry about overpaying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Your second listen, Locked On Bucks, Locked On Magic, the places to go. Had the Bucks beat the Pistons? How do they feel about the Pacers? And, of course, Locked On Magic, the Pacers' opponent. They will have a 500 season in Orlando despite the complete mess of a year they had injury-wise. Pretty impressive. Jamal Mosley, that guy can coach, especially on the defensive end. Okay, Pacers-Bucks. Look, zooming out, Giannis is healthy right now. There's no reason, no chance he should play on Sunday, which means odds are he will be healthy for the playoffs. We will see about Damian Lillard. I'm not going to speculate right now. The Bucks have hinted at him potentially returning and being available. I have no idea how blood clot timing works. There's something about it being farther from the heart. Again, we're not going to talk about that right now. Even if it's just Giannis, that's almost, if not harder than last year's Bucks team. He is that good, right? You could argue, in fact, I personally would argue, he is the best player in the Eastern Conference. The Pacers have to beat him. He's been on a tear these last couple of weeks. Triple-doubles, averaging triple-doubles. Left and right, they're pouring in. And so this will be a tough series for the Pacers. Last year, their pace was great against a Bucks team with flimsier perimeter defense. They were just a different group. Their depth was different. And the Pacers ripped them up. They beat them 4 times in the regular season. I picked the Pacers to win that series in 7 games. Even if Giannis returned in the series, he never did. They won in 6. This year will be more challenging, right? I still will probably pick the Pacers, but let's dive into it throughout the week. It's going to be hard, first because of Giannis, but also because of a couple things that I have big picture questions about when it comes to the Bucks and how the Pacers will specifically handle them. And one is just that. Giannis is amazing right now. How do they defend him? They can't really pick him up full court, right? They could try, but he's just huge and massive, and putting that kind of effort on him, like maybe you wear him down over the course of a game, but that's going to be really hard to do. And that was something that the Pacers did very well against the Bucks last year. Really jammed up their pace, and for an older team, that was challenging, right? That's going to be harder to do. The second one, something we just saw tonight, and if you've been paying attention to the Bucks many times of late, they have found they start not this group, obviously, but recently they've been getting to groups that are just Giannis and 4 bench guys, right? And it works really, really well, right? That actually gives them a depth thing they did not have last year. Their bench players were either one-dimensional or slow last year. Like, they've been turning to Porter, Trent, AJ Green, and Giannis, and like that's a lot of shooting and a good spacing and good enough defense, and it's just working, right? That's a very threatening group. It's honestly been equal to their Kuzma. The Torian Prince has been awesome, but like Rollins, Prince, Kuzma, Lopez stuff. So that I have questions about. The Bucks have gotten a lot better at finding Brook Lopez inside, like for post touches. He took 8 twos and only 3 threes against Detroit in their last game. That's a new dimension. Last year, he was a lot more on the perimeter against the Pacers. How's that going to look? How does that influence Myles Turner's defense or who guards who even. Kevin Porter Jr., as painful as to say, has been good of late. He didn't even play awesome against Detroit. He missed 7 shots, but like 3 or 4 times the last couple of weeks, I've turned on the Bucks game late because their result matters to the Pacers, and I want to know what's going on. And they're like in a tight game, and they need something to work for them to win. And it's been Kevin Porter Jr. It happened in Miami. It happened in New Orleans. He's been better. It happened against Minnesota in that crazy comeback. He's been better. Like, that's a new dimension they did not have behind Dame. Really good, like, offensive guard play at all, right? That's something new. These are not things that I'm saying are reasons the Bucks are, like, much better than the Pacers or anything. These are just questions I have that weren't there last year. Dame is obviously a huge question. Is he going to play? Is he going to be available? How does that influence the firepower of the Bucks? And my last one is the zone of it all, because this has been the subplot of the Pacers season that I've been so interested in when it came to playoff time. Is one of their most devastating losses with the zone thing, right? They've seen zone a lot this year. I wrote a story about their struggles with zone because of this game, was when they lost to the Bucks on New Year's Eve, and they were winning at halftime, and they were like really close in the third quarter to just a strong punch that would have probably ended the game. Giannis comes in one more time, the Bucks go zone, and the Pacers just fall apart. And they responded well and played really good on offense against the Heat zone 2 days later, but the Bucks zone's really good, and it's done that to other teams too. And the Pacers are going to see zone in the playoffs, especially against their bench. If the Bucks zone can jam things up and make it really tough for the Pacers, already rocky right now, kind of depth, second unit stuff, I'm very curious how that will force the Pacers to change things and respond. So altogether, these are not things that I'm saying will give the Bucks an advantage. The Pacers could come in with a great game plan against zone. That could be no issue, right? They might not play. Kevin Porter Jr. might not keep up his same level. Maybe Giannis and the bench groups are less effective if shots don't fall or if the defense isn't there, right? I'm not saying these things are going to be problems for the Pacers for sure. They're just differences and questions I have that were not a part of the calculus last year that will make this a different series beyond just Giannis is playing. Giannis is playing. That is already a huge difference from Pacers Bucks last year. It's going to be a different series. The Bucks have been better against the Pacers this season than last year. They're 3-1. Last year the Pacers were 4-1. It's going to be different. I cannot wait to break it down this week. It's going to be so fun. The quotes for forever where this isn't a rivalry until they meet in the playoffs. How about 2 years in a row after the NBA Cup games? It's just so perfectly fitting. I can't wait. We'll talk Pacers Cavs Sunday. I'll be at the arena, and a little bit of just like, oh, the season's over, blah, blah, blah kind of stuff, where their draft pick ends up. Then throughout the week, I'll probably do one show just like, oh, the regular season's over. Let's talk about some Pacers Awards stuff. And then throughout the week, it'll be all Pacers Bucks playoff previews. Can't wait. I love this time of year. It's going to be so fun. So much fun. So Sunday, that's it. I will be in Cleveland for the Pacers finale. And then we'll be back to every single day through the playoffs, just like last year, 7 days a week. Very frequent guests, probably like last year, a rotating cast of a Pacers person, 2 people who cover the opposing team. Brett Bauer is the closer if he's in for it. That's how we did it last year. I really loved that playoff rhythm, and we'll try to do it again this year. So looking forward to it all. It's going to be awesome. But we're not quite there yet. 1 game to go. So see you Sunday from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Hope you enjoyed this one, including the breakdown of whatever that Pacers Magic game turned out to be. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Tony R. East. You can find this podcast's Twitter account and Instagram account at Locked On Pacers. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode and are having a wonderful weekend. We will see you very soon.